Mic'd up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yankees Coast to Coast, special game night version of our little program today. We thought we would try to talk. We were hoping the game would move quicker, but it's the
Oh, it's
Yankees are
Yankees Red
walking.
Sox. It's 3
The
hours. We can't.
Yankees are walking so many guys. What are they up to, 8 or 9 now? So
Yeah, I
sooner
think
or
that's what
later,
they're up to.
someone's got to score, and sooner or later the game has to end. So probably later.
It doesn't
Uh,
have to end. You know that. They're up to 9 walks. What's killing me is Boone did it again, right? So he'll pitch his 5 innings, struggles his way through with his control because he walked 5,
mm-hmm.
made his way through an inning with 3 errors, which was pretty funny. And then he brought in Duvall, and he didn't have it again, which I don't have a problem with taking Heel out. He was having problems. He battled through 5. He allowed two runs, 1 earned. He was up to, what was he up to? 93 pitches. It was a 2-2 game. Duvall comes in. He doesn't have it. He allows a run. So Leiter, he pitches 1/3. Leiter comes in, pitches 2/3 of an inning, throws his 2 batters and his, I think, 6 pitches. What did he throw? Leiter threw 6 pitches, right? And now the game is 2-2, or 3-2, I should say, and then the Yanks make it 3-3. And what I don't understand is why he took Leiter out. I mean, it's not like I'm upset that he used Weaver. Don't get me wrong. But again, he's using an extra pitcher for no reason here whatsoever. By using Leiter for only 2/3 of an inning and 6 pitches, Weaver has to come in the 7th, whereas there's an opportunity. I'm not saying that Leiter is the be-all, end-all of God's greatest gift to relief pitching, but there's a chance that Leiter can get them through the 7th, which then leaves Weaver and Bednar for the 9th, assuming they would use Bednar after 27 pitches yesterday. So I don't understand his use of the bullpen because there was no way Weaver was going to pitch the 7th and the 8th, so he was leaving himself a hole in the 8th. He's using Leiter, other than the blowout game, using Leiter like he's a left-handed specialist. It makes no freaking sense whatsoever. None. I understand Leiter is not the best pitcher, but if he's pitching well, give him a chance. And he pitched to 2 batters. So that means even if the first batter hits a home run and you want to take him out, he's pitched to 3 batters, you can take him out. So there was no reason to take Leiter out there other than to use an extra pitcher. And the Yankees are already suffering from the fact that Boone screwed up the blowout the other day against Minnesota.
Yep.
When he used 3 middle to higher leverage guys. So, the highest leverage guys handled the 10s. He used this 5, 6, 7 guys in De Los Santos, Leiter, and Hill in a 10-run game. And there was no reason for that. That was the perfect game to let Duvall pitch after blowing 2 days ago, being awful, to see what he has. And it was also a perfect game to use Williams and be completely low leverage. And Hedrick, who I guess is hurt because he went on the IL, pitched but got hurt. Those are the guys you want to be using in a 10-run game. And he blew it, which then put them in a position on the game on, what's today? Game on Wednesday, where, okay, he could have used Hill instead of Williams against 3 left-handed batters in the 9th or 10th inning. They had 3 left-handed batters coming up. Hill would have come in, and if they would have put righties up against him, the 4 batters that they had on the bench that were all right-handed were hitting 219, 206, 204, and 173. So let Hill pitch against those guys, especially since he's a ground ball guy and he's not going to allow, what's he going to do? It just kills me. His handling of the bullpen has been god-awful. After that was something that we thought he was relatively good at. Wow, you should shut the microphone when you blow your nose, not just the camera.
Closing my window. Sorry, man.
You sound like you were blowing your nose, and that was being polite because it could have come out the
other way. No, that's a lot louder than that.
So now tonight we get a game where, they could have used Leiter for an extra inning here to not leave themselves with a De Los Santos in the 8th and a Bednar in the 9th. They could have had Weaver in the 8th and Bednar in the 9th, which is your 2 best high leverage guys. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't want to hear any 5 o'clock in the morning BS. Every team goes through that.
This is what they're saying, that they're sloppy tonight. I mean, they got 3 errors. They're looking bad.
The 3 errors were in 1 inning, and they were disgusting.
It's just, more of the same. Again, these are not good teams they're beating, and they're playing a good team right now. Though I don't know why, but they seem to be a good team.
They're not a good team. They're a slightly above average team, which is about what the Yankees are right now.
Well, this is what I mean.
But the
And
Yankees are like a seismograph during an earthquake. They're very high and very low. There's no.
well, yeah, I mean, and this is a game. They've got the one home run. They got the Rice home run, and that's it. When they hit home runs, they win. But they don't do any. They don't win games
No.
when they don't hit home runs. So and what annoys me is again, when is Aaron Judge gonna pick these guys up on his shoulders and just win a big game, a big series, just blowing the hell out of everybody and just winning?
He's
When is
hurt.
that gonna happen? He just seems to shrink. I know we had a hit tonight, but he just
He is hurt. He is hurt. So since you weren't watching, really, you were just listening.
I was listening.
So Rice in the first inning, because of his inability to catch properly, probably cost Heel a couple of strikes. But what really hurt them was Heel missed a one hopper back to him and went off the top of his glove, and that was an error. Then Heel gets a one hopper back to him on the next batter, throws it to Chisholm at second base, and Chisholm airmails it into the front row. I mean, it was Steve
Chisholm's
Sax,
arm, man.
and he didn't have a grip on it. You could see he didn't have a grip on it. But if you don't have a grip on it, don't throw it. And the guy that was running was not slow, but he wasn't Ricky Henderson or Ichiro. But
Mhm.
if he made a good throw, they had the double play. Then the guy steals third, and Rice throws the ball into left field. Oh no, didn't throw it into left field. Sorry, Rice threw one. The guy stole third, and McMahon saved Rice from an error by making a diving play towards shortstop on the throw. And then they get first and third because of another walk. And then Rice proceeds to throw the ball literally to Grisham instead of.
So did you see Rice just tripled?
Yes, Rice just tripled.
Where did he
And
hit the
now
ball?
Chisholm, who's got 2 hits, an RBI, a stolen base, a run scored, he's having quite the game. And
Yeah, don't try to hit him.
there's two interesting things that Smoltz said. I'm not a Smoltz fan. I find him to be anti-Yankee. When Volpe got up first time of the game, he said something that should jump off the page to the Yankee management. Volpe has the lowest on base percentage of any batter with enough at bats to qualify for the batting title.
Mm.
The lowest on base percentage. And yet, you watch the Yankee announcers, especially last night, they say, "Oh, he's fifth. He's fifth in the league in shortstops, RBIs, and fifth in second in home runs." And I'm like, no, no, that's. And then of course Girardi and Kay yesterday were like, "Oh, he's been really good in the field. He almost misplayed a ball yesterday. He has been better. He hasn't made any stupid plays, but you know, you can't.
What
This is
play? You mean
going
the
down
one
the
where he
whole
sort
like a
of
Cooper
missed?
ground.
They say it was a bad hop, but I didn't
It
see the
wasn't a
hop.
bad
I saw
hop.
a miss. I saw a misstep. Like he
I
sort of lost a step, and he had to compensate.
100%. He
Yeah.
made a bad step. It was just pathetically bad. The other thing that they said tonight that was really interesting that I never would have thought of. Jazz Chisholm is 1 for 95
Oh God.
on 95-mile-an-hour fastballs or faster.
So he's not good at hitting fastballs.
Yeah, and I was shocked by that.
Well, because he swings at everything over his head. They
Well, that's
always over. He
I'm
always
curious. I'd like
overswing.
to dig into that. Obviously, I'm not going to because
That seems
I have
very,
a lot.
very. That
That
seems
seems
next to
crazy to
impossible.
me.
How does a guy that? How could he be that bad? I don't think that's
And it's
possible.
only and that's a lot of pitches, 95 at over 95 miles an hour. I mean that's the stat that Smoltz spewed forth. I mean we know that Volpe can't hit the high fastball in any way, shape, or form, right? He just
Yeah.
can't. So it's really interesting as to what's going on there. That if Chisholm can't hit it, I mean, and then of course Smoltz Chisholm's having a career year. I don't know that this is a career year. I mean, it's not a bad year at 240, 22 homers, 22 stolen base, 20 homers, 22 stolen bases, and about 50, 60 RBIs. That's not a career year for him. He's had better seasons, but he's having a good year, and he's played a good second base. Tonight's throw being an exception. But
Now, the good news here is you got Mats coming up, left-handed against Schmidt. Goldschmidt may have a shot at getting a single up the middle
well, is
right
this Matt's third battle? We'll see what happens. So, getting back to what you had started to say, which was what we planned on talking about, is are the Yankees a mirage? Quite frankly. There you go. He swung and missed at a 94-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle.
now. Are you
Are the
behind
Yankees a
me?
mirage? And the answer, I think, is yes. I'd say that they're a mirage because they can't beat the good teams. They have a bad record against the teams in the AL East, especially the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Um, even though they have a good record against good teams outside of the division. But I also believe that they're going to go smoking through the rest of the season because they finish with Baltimore, the White Sox, and the Twins, not necessarily in that order.
Yeah.
And, the Twins have, given up hope. The White Sox are playing better, but they're the White Sox. And by the end of the season, they're going to be like, I'm out of here. And the Orioles, although playing a little bit better, they're still terrible this year. And the Yankees have games against those guys coming up in the next few weeks again, not just the last week of the season. And it just is crazy.
Well, I mean, I think that there's a lot to be said about the benefits of having a light schedule, especially when you're a team that can beat the teams that are bad. And they certainly can beat these guys. So they did go through a big portion of the season losing to teams like that because they would come unprepared. And you could just tell.
Well, they
So,
haven't lost to the bad teams; they've lost to the good teams.
no, but I mean, there were times during it when they were playing bad teams, like when they played Colorado and lost a game. One out of three is that as bad as that is. They they should have swept certain teams that they didn't. They tend to win
Well,
two out of
even if they
three
win
and then
two
they
out of
lose
three
one.
against Colorado, would have been nice. I
Yeah,
mean, they've
but
got these four against the Red Sox, then they got three against the Nationals and four against the White Sox.
yeah, I mean they're fine. They've got a lot of games. I think they've got an under 500. The rest of the teams, their schedule every game for the rest of the season. Um, I think, I guess the way they
No,
did it, they averaged their win percentage.
oh,
It's
it's the
under 480. So
they have
they're
the easiest schedule for the rest of the year because after they play the White Sox, they get done with the Nationals and the White Sox for 7. They have the Astros for 3, the Blue Jays for 3, the Tigers for 3, and then the Red Sox for 3.
so,
So
so it's a
those 12 games right there are against good teams, and then
it's
they finish with the Twins, the Orioles, the White Sox, and the Orioles.
it's a chance to prove or disprove once and for all the Yankees' philosophy that if you get hot, you can go all the way through. My feeling is if they play very well going in, I would love the 2000 Yankees to arrive again, play badly, and then suddenly turn it on in the playoffs. It would be very nice. Um, but that's just not the way this team is going to be. And
No,
I don't care how.
yeah. They
Listen,
don't
they
have the high
win.
contact on base percentage players at the top and the bottom of the order.
Yeah, they have none of that.
And
And
and the
the thing
bottom of
is,
the
these
order.
guys are going to get mauled against good team pitching, and it's going to be the same thing. Listen, I hate to say this, but because I don't like to say, they're going to win their 90 plus, and they're going to make it to the playoffs. They may even win the division, but it doesn't matter. When you and the reason why we can say that and this is important. You know, we're lucky enough to have a team that's there every year. That's that's closer in play every single year, and that's an outlier in probably every league in sports, where we're there every single year, and it's great. But that also, while some think it's spoiled of us to be negative, it's also given us experience that most other fans and teams don't have, which is to see what's going to happen. You can create trends with this team. Look at the Mets. Can the Mets actually go and look at a trend of their playoff experiences going back to 1986? They've been playoffs maybe 8 times. I mean, it's you can't do that. But we've been lucky enough to be in it 25 times, and you're able to see to build a database, and our database is negative because there have been so many opportunities to be great and do great things that have been stolen because of stupidity,
And one of the
bad
things,
management, and bad
and
stupidity.
right, but that experience also shows or should show the Yankees what wins in the playoffs. And they can just look at their own teams and say, what wins in the playoffs? Um, and what wins in the playoffs is when you have guys at the bottom of the order who may hit punch and Judy hitters, but they all have an on base percentage in the 310 to 330 area. And the guys at the top of the order are in the 340 to 360 area. And then you've got your 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters, maybe even your 7 hitter, who are your 3 true outcome guys. You got to have the diversity in your lineup where you're going to have guys on base. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And for them to say it's a crapshoot is garbage. It is garbage.
Yeah. I
It just,
mean,
it doesn't make any sense. And this team is structured with such highs and such lows that
every guy in the lineup can hit a bomb. Everybody on the team can hit home runs. A good number of now of the guys. I think what's good, there's signs of really good things that maybe they're going to take into the playoffs that might help them. First, they're finally stealing bases, and I think that might just be because they're playing a real underbelly of
they're playing
catchers.
terrible, terrible catchers.
So they just seem to really be hyper aware of that, and they know they can get. I mean, the Judge stolen base just makes you so happy because you see that they're thinking about manufacturing
Right.
activity, and that's just great. But when they get to LA and they're playing the Dodgers in the World Series, and they got a guy like what's his name, their catcher, what's his
Smith.
name, Smith, yeah, it's not going to be so easy when they're catching some of these guys, when they've got some of these guys back there. But more likely, it's going to be more of the same. Like they kind of fall back into the pattern. Let's wait for the bottom. Let's wait for Judge to pick us up.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
that doesn't work. I mean, I just
same old shit.
right. Which I mean, I pulled up the '98 team, which is really not a fair comparison
Oh,
for anybody.
come on.
But I'm looking at the bottom of the batting order. You remember Brocious used to bat ninth on that team.
Yeah, what did he hit 290 that year?
Well, he hit 300, but he had a 371 on base percentage. And Girardi hit in front of him and hit 276 with a 317 on base percentage. It's amazing to me. The guys that got regular at bats on this team all had above a 350 on base percentage, which obviously is not fair because it is the 1990.
Wait a minute. How many bats did Posada have that year?
In 1998.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Jorge Posada had 409 plate appearances, and he had an on base of 350. So
Wow. And how
Girardi,
many? And what was his batting?
had 279 plate appearances. So yeah, that makes my point even better because Posada had a 350 on base. I mean, these guys all had over 350 on base for the Yankees. Posada, Martino Martinez, Chuck Knobloch, Jeter, Brocious, Chad Curtis, Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, Strawberry, Tim Raines.
Did anybody have over
Homer Bush,
400?
Shane Spencer.
Did anybody have more than 400?
Yeah. Nobody that played over 400. The only guy who played every day that had over 400 was Bernie. Bernie Williams had a 422.
Wow.
So, but I mean, if you go with that lineup, right? So, I mean, that's not fair. That's one of the best teams in the history of baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you
Well, I
go to
mean,
the '96
they knew
team,
how
which
to
was a
win.
good team, right? '96. Girardi batted ninth. He had a 346 on base percentage. I mean, slugging is not everything. That's the bottom line. Slugging is not everything. You need a diversity. Jeter was not, not just sorry, I think about Jeter had a 370 that year. And Ruben Sierra had 407 plate appearances, and him and Gerald Williams, although Gerald Williams didn't have nearly as many at bats. Gerald Williams, they had the lowest on base at 327.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
those were amazing teams that were built around the concept of we play today, we win today.
get
Every
on
game,
base, get on base.
get on base at all cost. That's all that mattered. Get on base, get the man over, do not hit into a double
Well, they didn't
play.
even get the man over. It was
Take
just
a
get
look
on
at the
base, get on base,
strikeouts.
get on base. And no, did anybody hit 40 home runs? No.
No. But what
29
about
for Bernie
strikeouts?
was the high, 25 for Tino. But yet their slugging percentages were all, their OPSs for all of these guys were all over 730. Sierra's was the lowest at 730. Well, 720 for Girardi. So, I mean, even Girardi, 720. I mean, and that's the steroid era, don't get me wrong, but still, there's no reason for what's going on with this team and why they're built the way that they are, exclusively where every spot in the lineup is the exact same player, or that's their goal. And that doesn't make any sense. It just is a terribly, and this is not on Boone. As much as I'm not a Boone guy, especially the way he's handled the bullpen this year, which we thought he was good at the last couple of years. The structure of the team that's on our friend Gerard, what's his name, Cashman. So you go to the 2000 team, right, which is a good team, but not nearly as good as the 96 or 98 team, right?
Well, but they were very similar. It was more of
Well,
a
the
question of
players were
record.
similar.
It
Players
was
were
great
similar,
in
but
those teams. They used to keep all their guys,
well,
but it was more that.
Brocious had a 299 on base percentage batting in the 9 hole that year, and he was the only one that was below 320, 328, which is amazing. You know, it's just amazing. Which is why they got rid of him after that.
Mm,
But
yeah.
you know, they had guys again. Even with he was the only one under 700 OPS. Matter of fact, he was the only one under a 749 OPS, and the one at 749 was Tino.
I mean,
So
it's a you can do this all you want. You're gonna tear your hair out of your head. It's it's one of those things where um, that these are things they could still be this kind of team if they wanted to build. Whenever it always makes me nuts whenever people say things like why don't they do more of this? Why don't they do more of that? Why don't they steal more? Why don't they take the extra base? And and Boone always says the same thing. We don't have players who can do that, so we don't do it. And that doesn't work for me. The
doesn't work.
player, you know, you
So and that's what's amazing is these guys might not have had like their OPS pluses were all below 100 for most of them in most of these seasons, but their on base percentages were so much higher, and they won because they put pressure on the other team.
yeah.
I mean, the only guy that struck out 100 times in 2000 was Posada.
I mean, here we go. We got Ryan, we got McMahon, Volpe, and Grisham next inning to lead off the bottom of the eighth inning. I mean, that's 5 strikeouts tonight, from those guys, or 4 strikeouts from those guys. Um, it just right now would be really nice to see Volpe bunt and get on base. Volpe do something other than try to hit a home run right there. All they need is a run to tie this damn game.
Right. I'd like to see McMahon get a double and Volpe bunt him over. If McMahon gets a single, I don't want Volpe bunting. But if McMahon hits a double, which he's hitting 219, that would be nice. But it's just scary. And Grisham almost got tossed earlier in the game because he really had a nice conversation with an umpire on a call. But it's just I just think that they've totally overvalued slugging and totally undervalued on base percentage.
Yeah.
And there's a balance there.
And how is it possible that a team that's had that much success, a history of being so excellent at doing that, at winning baseball games because of on base, is now thinking, and a team that didn't hit home runs, did hit a lot of them. They did, but they all had a few. They didn't hit 50. They all hit 20. How is it that a team that had that much success today with the same basic management, it's still the same clown, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same guys up there. It's still Levine. It's still Lon Trost. It's still
Trost and Levine and Trost aren't baseball guys, but it's cash.
Yeah, but I mean they're your money guys.
Right, but they're
So,
spending money. They're spending money,
but
and they
for
might be the
what?
guys saying how much they can spend, but they're spending money. They're just not spending it wisely. I mean, I don't remember one of our text strings. Somebody was bitching and moaning about Hal being cheap, and I'm like, he's not cheap.
No.
They're just spending his money badly.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line: is he's not cheap. And the problem is they do not do enough to make contact, even when guys get on base. The high strikeout rate, they should sacrifice some slugging for a higher contact and a higher on base rate at the 1-2 hole and the 8-9 hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with Judge at number 3. Which don't get me started. If you have guys who have a 330 to 330 on base percentage at the 8 and 9 hole, yeah, you can bat Judge second because there's going to be guys getting on base for when he gets up in the third, fourth, and third innings, fifth inning, eighth inning. But if you have guys that aren't getting on base at the bottom of the order, it makes no sense to bat Judge second. there's nobody on base for him. Bat him third. So you've got, if Grisham's having the great year he's having, that's great. And then you bat, let's see, you want to go lefty righty or lefty lefty, whatever you want to do. Get somebody else who's got a good on base percentage in behind Grisham and let them get on base so that there's guys on base for Judge. But there's nobody on base for Judge when it comes around to circle on the other side of the order, unless Grisham or whoever's batting leadoff is getting on base. And it's a waste of Judge's talents. Now, I think Judge is hurt. I know he's been hitting the ball a little bit better, but your right elbow hurts. That's it's not like your left shoulder, which you're pulling the bat through with all your strength. But that right elbow, that quick twitch, if you don't have it in that right elbow, is going to affect your hitting massively. So it's just a poorly constructed team, being poorly managed right now, and they're going to make the playoffs. They may end up winning. They have, look at this. Nope. Maybe nope. They have 34 games left.
McMahon or Volpe?
Volpe flat out to right. McMahon grounded out to first. They have 34 games left after tonight. 15 of them are against the Red Sox, Astros, and Tigers. That means 19 games are left against the White Sox, the Nationals, the Orioles, the Twinkies.
Yeah.
So let's say they win out of the 15 games left against the Red Sox, Tigers, and Astros. They win 6 of them and go 6-9. But they go 13-6 against the crappy teams, which is possible. They win 19 more games, and they're at the high 80s. They're in the high 80s, close to 90 wins. And that's going to get them in the playoffs.
Yeah, but that's not enough to get them through the playoffs.
The playoffs are a crapshoot. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, according to them. It's going to be interesting to see what they do this offseason. And what concerns me about Judge, just finishing up that point, that this is it doesn't it feel like a little bit like Cole last year. He's got some problem. It's affecting him.
100%.
They're not going to talk about it.
100%.
He's going to go through some relaxation program all winter long. And then in March, we're going to find out that he needs Tommy John surgery. And
March, I'm thinking we're going to find out right at the very end of March before the season starts.
Exactly. And then they'll put him under the knife, and he won't. And they'll say, "Well, he'll just do an Ohtani for the year, for the half the year."
Then you have no stand. Then you have no stand.
And then what are we going to do there? Like, we're just going to go through this hell with Stanton playing right field and everything looking like it's going to be the injury that ends it all.
Right, that's the thing. Stanton he's missed one play in right field, but then he had to sit out all those games because he got sore.
Because he was sore. That cracks me up.
I played a double header on Sunday. I'm 60 years old. Yes,
I'm 100 years old. I play every goddamn day at camp, and I just play. This freaking guy is the world-class athlete, making more money than God, unbelievable talent and skill and athleticism, and he gets hurt.
No, he doesn't.
Like by playing too much.
He got too sore to play. That cracked me up.
Too sore.
It's Well,
what did Grisham do?
At least he sat out. He sat out the games in St. Louis. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to bring up today.
Yeah.
Where are all these people talking about how great the St. Louis fans are? They never.
They were terrible. They were booing, leaving.
When we were in St. Louis this last trip, everybody was talking about, well, the fans aren't here. Want to know why the fans aren't here? Because last year they started to suck, and this year they did not play well from the get-go, and their fans are not showing up. Maybe they don't boo. Okay, fine. But they're not even there, which might be better because that might get the team to
I think that's what the Yankees should do. Yankee fans.
It's never going to happen. There's too many people in New York. When you have a city like St. Louis, which is not a small city, but you have a city like St. Louis, there's not enough people there. So if people don't start showing up for the games, then, there's not people to replace them right away. But I don't know about you, but I get an email from the Yankees. Now it's twice a week. Buy 2 tickets, get 2 free. Buy tickets, $10.
Because they got a lot of bad games coming up. They got a lot of bad. I'll tell you why. Because for the reason you said, they're playing a lot of bad teams for the rest of the year.
Right.
They're not a lot of draws.
Tickets are sold. And
Do you know what they get
but the
tonight?
Yankees, but
Tonight
the
is
Yankees, and somebody will always buy the tickets.
tell me why the Yankees do Costanza a bobblehead under the table bobblehead night on the night they play the Red Sox. Why did they do it against someone like the Nationals? Like I'm going on Monday and I get the old crappy Hamilton hat. I want a Costanza bobblehead under the table. You know?
Listen, you're not getting a Hamilton hat unless you're one of the.
No, we have when you sit in the high price seats, they give them to you.
Who are you sitting with that you're sitting in the high price seats?
We're sitting up in the. We've got our buddy, Mr. Caro, was kind enough to get us a suite. The Yankees. He does it once a year for. It's a business thing. It's a very nice thing he does for all of us. Our good friend of the show, Mr. Steve Caro, with his brother Mark in tow. Um,
His
we
brother
have
Mark has a toe. His toe is called Brother Mark.
big brother Mark, the big toe, uh, bestest buddy in big toe.
Oh, by the way, they just made another error.
Oh no!
Goldschmidt on a routine grounder.
Really? That
Yeah.
doesn't happen too often.
No.
All right. Anyway, I'm gonna go watch the rest of the game. It's 10:30.
Yeah, so we'll be watching as the typical Yankee Red Sox. It's going to be 4 hours. It's
They'll
unbelievable.
be playing. The Yankees will tie it, and then this game will go. The Yankees will blow it in 12 innings. Watch 11 innings. Neither of these teams are very good at getting runners in from third base, so it'll be interesting.
Well, the Red Sox, I think, Red Sox had like the last inning they had 4 walks and 1 hit and scored a run.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see when they use Williams today. And if Blackburn's going to have
highest leverage moment, no doubt.
and if Blackburn's going to have to pitch 6 innings after first getting in today.
God, good God. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.